This is a master class in gaslighting because everyone's in on it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, if you ever wanna know how to really gaslight someone, watch this movie.
Yeah. But
Actually,
I
no,
was
don't
like,
do it because I don't want gaslighting. I don't.
yeah, I was like, we don't need lessons.
Hello and welcome back to the Blockbuster Hall of Fame. I am joined by Seth, Erica, and Jordan as always. This is again our fourth movie back. Um, Summer's coming up, so Seth and I will have a little bit more time. So we hope to ramp up just reviewing movies, but also we have some other stuff coming down the pipeline where we talk some books, TV shows, maybe some video games, just a little bit of everything. Um, there is only one thing that we will not discuss, and that's Stargate. So, but besides that, we're back. We're back at it.
Whoa.
Joke's on you.
Didn't get the reaction that I wanted, but it's
Because we're going
okay.
to anyways. It's all right.
I actually
Okay,
like
we're doing-
Stargate.
we're
I
doing
like
it
Stargate.
anyway.
I just like making fun of Seth.
We're doing
But
it anyway.
we reviewed Rosemary's Baby. It was referenced in our previous film, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It was directed by Roman Polanski. Yeah, we know he's a bad guy. But it came out in 1968, starring Mia Farrow and John Cassavetes. Sorry, I always mess up with his name. But this was a horror movie. It's one of the top 100 scariest movies. It's also in the Library of Congress. In terms of preservation, it's very culturally impactful film in the registry of just American cinema. So, I picked this movie. It is my honorable mention. Every time I give my top 5 list of favorite horror movies, it's always in my honorable mention. It's just great. It's really moody and atmospheric. Um, the acting in this movie is fantastic. Shout out to Ruth Gordon. She was fantastic in this movie. I love the music and the pacing and everything. I loved a lot about this movie. I watch it probably once every 2 years, so I'm just rambling now. I really love this movie. Jordan, give me your quick thoughts on this movie.
Not the movie I was quite expecting on it and everything. And the other thing, I guess, is this is supposed to be a scary movie. I could see maybe more like a psychological movie or something like that. I didn't get the scariness to it or anything, so I thought that was interesting that you state that.
Jordan. Terror is scary, and this movie had a lot of terror in it. Psychological thrillers do have horror elements to it. I'm not
Well,
going to sit here and argue with you
yeah,
about this.
I'm just
Terror.
going to say I don't see it as scary as more as like what in the world's going on, and the more messaging in this movie. That's probably the
That's
more
your
interesting side of
definition
it.
of scary.
Okay.
Uh, because
Anyways,
for Rosemary herself, this is terrifying. This is scary.
Fair point.
Spending 1 minute with Ruth Gordon, that is scary. Because
anyways,
she will talk your ear off. Shout out me.
Kentucky.
Uh, Sorry,
Oh
Erica,
god.
your turn.
So I have seen like this movie referenced or parodied and things like that. So I had like the faintest idea of what this was about. And like I do think it's a scary movie because if you think like, okay, put yourself in Rosemary's situation to your point, like it's terrifying. Um, I think horror is so subjective though. So it's like, okay, some movies that I find absolutely terrifying, maybe somebody else doesn't. Just like Pet Cemetery, for example, it's very like grief driven, which is horrible and scary, right? But other people are like, this is terrible. So I don't know. It was an interesting movie, not quite what I expected because I think I had preconceived expectations going into it. Um, but yeah, I feel like we'll get more into that. But those are quick.
Seth?
So, first, that you watch this movie every 2 years, brother, get some help. Get some help. But second, I can't help that. Sorry. No, so I'm actually going to agree with Jordan to a point, and I'm going to take the middle ground in this argument or point or decisions of differences, opinions. I think that for the time period, this movie was probably extremely terrifying. I think
Yes.
in 1968 is when I think
Eight.
it came out.
Yep.
Yeah. So when that movie came out, I feel like audiences went to go see this and it probably freaked them the heck out. And I think I'm probably, and I try not to do this with old movies. I like watching old movies. Like y'all know, I'll watch Hitchcock. I'll watch The Thin Man's and the Howard Hawks and the John Fords, and I love those movies. Casablanca's, all of them. So I try not to do that with this too much. But I feel like there needed to be one change to the movie that would have made it more of a timeless horror movie. And if they had tweaked one thing to the story and the way that it was delivered, I feel like you probably would have more or a better reaction from me when it came to the movie anyway. I feel like they made one mistake that really uh, kind of hinders it for someone watching it in 2025 for the first time, as opposed to watching it earlier. Now, I will also say that the acting by Mia Farrow was really, really well done. She did a fantastic job. A little creeped out at times, knowing what we know about Roman Polanski and how she was sometimes made to look a little young, uh,
Hmm.
and how many nude scenes there are for her in the movie. Knowing that kind of is a little creepy, but she did a great job acting, and I'm for anything else out of that one, she really did a phenomenal job with this. I'm gonna talk
Yeah.
about that change, by the way, later. I'm coming
Okay.
back to that. That's just quick
Yeah.
thoughts.
I'm not gonna get into Roman Polanski talk. In terms of how first time we do like a director, we end up doing like a Rushmore or something. Um, Polanski can go to hell, so not doing that with him. Um, but essentially, when it comes to the cast, you have Mia Farrow, of course, she played Rosemary. John Cassavetes played Guy, and Ruth Gordon played Minnie. She was actually won awards. She won Best Supporting Actress at the Academy Awards and Best Supporting Actress in the Golden Globes for her role as Minnie. And as I was saying, this movie is terrifying, even if you have to spend 1 minute with her. Because, hey, go away, lady. Quit talking.
Hey, do you know the vitamin water commercial that's going out right now?
Oh
Where it's like
God.
No.
it's constantly about vitamin water. It's New York, and like their whole shtick is that vitamin water's for New Yorkers and everything. It's probably the worst advertisement ever. I never want to drink, and I never drank it anyways, but I'm never going to now
Yeah.
because your whole thing was making it about New York. Anyway, she strikes me as the person that that commercial was designed for. Like she drinks vitamin water. That's what I was thinking the whole time. Like, even though it didn't exist at the time, but like she is the New York that they're talking about.
Yeah, so I guess before we even hop into what we really liked about the movie, since we're all kind of in agreement on the acting, we can go ahead and start out with that. I know Seth, you touched on Mia Farrow, I touched on Ruth. Erica, what did you think of the acting in this movie?
I obviously Mia Farrow did great. I really liked her kind of descent, and where that went. Ruth did a great job as well. I really liked Sidney Blackmer. He was kind of intimidating, but you're also kind of like, is he a bad guy at first? You don't know what to expect. So I like
Oh
that.
yeah,
There's some pieces of it that I would have altered. I Yeah, I feel like I'll save some of that for the negatives unless we want to get into it because there's parts of the maybe it was more of the director choices that I felt like the acting suffered from
yeah. We can hop
in
into
some
that later.
parts. Okay.
Yorton, what did you think of the acting?
So the acting to me is sort of the interesting part of it, and I think now that I understand the ending of it, I like it better. But at first, I thought the acting was particularly odd. Like people don't talk or act like this in real life, basically. And like something seemed off with the people. But then when I get to the end of the movie, it's like, okay, I understand now. And so it's one of those re-reflection. Maybe I'll think of the acting better because of it. But for a good chunk of the movie, I just felt like, man, it just felt very off. But there's a reason why it feels off, and so that's my big takeaway with the acting on it.
Okay. Uh, I like that train of thought, Jordan. I like that train of thought. Like, hey, this is off. People don't act like that. Oh wow, that's why people don't act like that. I
Yeah.
like it. I like
Oh,
that.
they're in a witch cult. Okay. That might be
All
why
of
they
them with
seem off.
So okay, I guess I'll start us off with positives. What I really liked about this movie. Again, touched on the acting. I really love the atmosphere that this movie like set up, like the vibe. And I remember when I very first watched this movie, I immediately felt uncomfortable in that apartment because of just the the way that it was built, like with the walls next to, they're not really, they're just essentially partitions. You keep hearing the loud banging. And then like even on one of their first nights, they were the chanting, and then,
Hmm.
meeting Roman and Minnie, hearing them, and they're always poking their nose in. It just felt uneasy the entire movie, and I love like that vibe. And that's one of the things that I like when it comes to like horror movies, is like the terror of feeling uneasy. And so that's why I kind of say Uncut Gems is low key a horror movie. Um, so 'cause that movie, talking about uneasy the entire time. But yeah, no. So I love the atmosphere that it brought in, and I think like the music is perfect for its time, because as Seth is saying, there are some choices that people make with a little bit of these older movies that doesn't really translate to make it timeless. And I feel like that's a lot of like the sound and music that really hits, that makes it my issue. But I think they did a really good job playing, keeping the sound and the music with the vibe of like the uneasy atmosphere. Um, so yeah, and any kind of like oculate story or cult story, I love. And so this movie is definitely there. And the ending, I sorry, spoiler alert. People were probably going to talk about the ending. Um, but no,
What?
I
Wow.
really, I really fucking love the ending. Um, that's a really good part. I really love how they just like put a bow on it for me. So yeah, those are really my highlights, my positives, um, as it goes into it. But I do have a few negatives that I'll hit on. Um, Erica.
I also love like stories about occult and like religious horror and things like that. The Exorcist is one of my favorite books, because it just like inspired me to dig more into the ideas and like the things that they were talking about. And it's very, very interesting. And so, like, knowing that this is what that's about, it kind of makes me want to go and like do a little research about some of this. Obviously, most of it's probably not real, but it's based on like real incidents and real things most of the time. So I like that aspect of it. You're right. Like the atmosphere is really good. Like that apartment is kind of eerie, and even when they brighten it up, it still just feels off. And the opening and ending music, that is unsettling. And immediately Seth and I were like, what the hell is this? But my favorite part about this movie, and it's like really random, is shout out to Rosemary's girlfriends, right? Those four girls with her in that kitchen that were like, bitch, something is wrong. This is not right. Get this. Don't listen to any of these crazy people. You need a doctor. Shout out to those friends. And
No, oh, the level of gaslighting that took place in this movie was incredible.
yeah.
Like
Is it really
you want to you
gaslighting? Because I don't. I get okay.
literally
Not our
doctors
friends
have to see in this
gaslighting. That's what I
entire
No,
thought.
movie.
Everyone else. Okay. I was
for
No,
thinking you were
real, for
talking
everyone's
about her
real.
gas. This
friends.
is a master class in gaslighting because everyone's in on it.
Okay.
So
Yes.
yeah, if you ever wanna know how to really gaslight someone, watch this movie.
Yeah. But
Actually,
I
no,
was
don't
like,
do it because I don't want gaslighting. I don't.
yeah, I was like, we don't need lessons. But I really like that. I was like, okay, that shows like girlhood, like woohoo, shout out to her friends. But then her husband immediately gaslit her and called them all bitches, and he was the worst. But we'll get into that.
Oh my goodness, Seth, your positives.
Pharaoh's acting was really good. the music's not bad. Now that you call attention to it, didn't particularly stand out to me like one of those iconic horror movie themes, like with the slasher movies or even Hitchcock's Psycho, right? It didn't stick out to me like that, but it was really good about setting tone, pace,
Mhm.
that kind of deal. So now that you mentioned that's fair. I will tell you, and this is going to sound a lot more harsh than I mean it. The thing I like most about this movie is the media that it's inspired after the fact, if that makes sense. Like after watching this movie, there's a couple books I've read, one that I kind of didn't like, and then one I really liked that I'm like, oh wow, okay, so they were doing this. Like this is what they were doing. And
Hmm.
so like I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate the fact that this is like a foundational layer for the type of story of like, one was take place in Paris, one took place in New York for the stories I'm talking about. But that idea of the apartment with the weird neighbors and the weird, like something weird's going on, there's some type of freakiness happening, but you don't really know what it is, kind of until the end kind of deal. And so I appreciate the genre staple that this movie is, if
Yeah,
that makes
and
sense. That's probably a nicer way of saying it.
no, I mean, like what you're saying is completely like valid because like a lot of stuff, like especially like when they were doing film around this time, everything sort of has like a genesis point, and then things are like built on top of it. You know, when it comes to it, like shit, Matrix isn't the first like hero's journey ever shown, but the first Matrix movie, like, oh geez, is this how like we should do hero's journeys now? And then shout out Keanu Reeves again, like John Wick literally revolutionized the revenge action movie. And so
Yeah.
now like every movie like in probably from now to the next 10 years is like a riff of John Wick in some areas until somebody else does it different. Um, but no, like in that's like a fair assessment. Like out because I mean to go back to John Wick, I like the movie as well, but you can also appreciate some of the other movies that it like has spawned, not necessarily within the John Wick universe.
Mhm.
Sorry,
No, no,
I'm
that's
just
that's
yeah, I'm just
yeah.
co-opting your point. It's a valid point.
No, yeah, that's going to end up probably being my biggest factors here in points. It's a great point on the music. I agree with that. Even though it doesn't have that necessarily iconic sound of the like you hear it and you know what movie it is right away.
Yeah,
Like it's not really hit that level, but it does a really good job of what it's trying to do. And at the end of the day, that's really kind of all it needs to do. It doesn't need to hit that iconic status of like recognizable in public. But then at the same time, Mia Farrow's acting and yeah, just to summarize again, it's the fact that it set up this genre and it's impressive that this movie came out in 1968. Now it's an adaptation of a novel and it's apparently a very accurate adaptation of the novel. So, I guess this also goes back to that novelist as well, but I think this movie is really one of the big founders of it and stuff. And so
yep.
it just creating that feeling that is being copied. I always appreciate when you see kind of some of that original. It's not the original material, but it's like the big material, the big foundational
Inspiration.
block. So yeah, so I always find it appreciative when I see that kind of stuff.
Ira Levin is the writer of the book.
Hmm.
Yes,
Okay. No, I just
and
wanted
Also,
to
she
give him
if
a
loved
I
it.
shout
heard,
out.
yeah, if I heard someone going, like, no, I'm gonna recognize that on the street, okay? If I hear those little la la las,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be creeped
Uh
the hell out.
actually that is Mia Farrow as well.
Okay. Yeah, creepy as hell. Mm-mm.
Jordan, positives.
Positives on it. Atmosphere. I believe you guys also covered that though, just because it always gives that sense of uneasiness to the movie. You never feel quite comfortable in the movie. Uh, so that's probably the biggest thing I'd say is a good thing about it. The other thing I was thinking about, I just want to know how much of a messaging it was, or is it just me overthinking of it? With with I couldn't help but to think about women having control of their own bodies with having babies and stuff like this, because just like how the denial of doctors and stuff like that. So I thought this was an interesting movie to have that discussion in. on it. I don't know if that's necessarily what it was about, but that's definitely my big takeaway for it, and one of the things I would going to remember about this movie in particular about it, because that how like she couldn't even get to pick her own doctor that she wanted to see because she didn't like the doctor that she was currently seeing, and everyone just like, those hurts are okay. Yeah, you'll be fine. Pain's normal. It's like, no, there's something wrong, clearly.
Yeah. And
So,
I think it's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
that's like, so for me, that's probably the most positive stuff I've got to say about the movie.
I think it's interesting how the first movie we watched coming back was a lot about like the loss of control in women in that environment, and then what this book ending it is kind of very interesting. The themes of sexual assault and things like that are while one is supernatural and one is based in reality, it is about the loss of control of your body and the many layers that go into that. And it's really disturbing, but it's just interesting.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Because even when how she got pregnant, it
Mm-hmm.
was while she was sleeping. Which, dude, not cool, man. That was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it's a weird thing to say. Yes, I liked about the movie, but that I thought did a good job about bringing up those topics in an interesting way.
The irony of that message, though, is the that's the part that gets me with this. I know. We said we were gonna do plans. We talk. My bad. I'm sorry, but like, it's the irony of
No,
what
no,
he.
that's why I was just like, I was
You're
quiet.
just 100% correct. That is definitely the messaging of that movie. It's just one of those like
All right, sir.
coming from this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, you got some guts, dude. Maybe pay attention to your own movies, I guess.
Yeah, he didn't
But
write it, right? He just directed it. So,
yeah,
right. Yeah.
It's almost
And
like
obviously, it's not a book. So.
That's how come I wasn't too sure if that was necessarily what his direction was for the movie, but that's what I pulled away from it. Maybe that was more of the original novel, but I know nothing about the director. But
Polanski
reading
is over
from you
here like,
guys, it's like, oh, okay, I see where.
this is good. This is good stuff. Pro this scene. Meanwhile, everyone else reads it like, oh yeah, dude, that is bad. You're right.
I hate you.
Polanski was like, "Hey, man, this is fantastic. Maybe I should try
Yeah.
this off of set."
Yeah.
Ugh.
Uh, rest in peace, Roman Polanski, or rest in piss. Sorry.
Say-
It's like, whoa, that's a good turn.
Uh,
Anyway, my bad. I'm sorry. That's the last time I'll mention him.
nah, it's cool. So now we'll go into the negatives. I think that we are going to be in agreement on some of the negatives. Seth, is that you wanting
Yeah,
to go first?
I'm
All
eager.
right, Seth.
I'm eager to talk about this.
Okay, that's why he's here.
Yeah.
The only reason.
Look. Here's the thing. I referenced it at the beginning, and I want to talk about it now. Here's my number one negative for the movie, and I think with this one change, I think it makes the movie timeless. And I understand that I'm watching this from 2025. I understand that in 1968, this probably worked really, really well. So it's kind of hard to knock a movie for something that it's not aware of. Hey, in 52 years, I'm not sure if I did math correctly. I'm okay if I didn't. This was not going to be as hit as hard. But here's the one thing I would change: the whole the rape scene. If they moved that scene to the revelation part where like she remembers, right, when she enters that last room. So the entire movie, instead of knowing she got raped by a weird monster dude with claws, instead of knowing that,
Satan.
yes, say it, yeah. Well, I mean, you don't know he
Yeah.
stayed until the end, but I'm just saying, but like, you know it at the end. But in the movie, though, I just, if it was more ambiguous, like if they kept it, because then the terror and the gaslighting, like you get to participate as the audience member with her character, so you're not over here like, ooh, that fucker. I'm sorry. That about the husband. Sorry, that's about the husband. My bad. We'll bleep that out in post. But
Why? It's
Jordan's
okay
like, I
to
don't got time
curse.
for that.
yeah, my bad. No, sorry, I was into here. But no, but my thing is, way worse than that. My only thing is that like if you do that, the terror is now the psychological terror, the horror gets ratcheted up because like the entire time you're questioning your own sanity, right? You're like, whoa, is this like, wait, did she like? Is this something? Are they right? Like, do they just have my best interest at heart? Like, are they truly just trying to help me out, or what are they trying to do? And I think that's one of the that's where the movie faltered for me because it was like it took me out of the terror because I'm just at the same time now I'm like, man, these people are awful, and that's all I could think of the whole movie is these people are awful. Like her husband is an awful husband. Like as a husband, I'm like, dude, f you. Like, I hate you more than Satan in this movie. How is that possible?
No, I
You
agree
are
with
more
you.
evil than Satan. How dare
I
you.
agree with you on that one, especially on that piece. Like, I wish they wouldn't have shown like the whole scene. They could even, like I'm saying, they could have even kept it where it was. But if they would have just like, oh, she's having, sex with her husband. Oh no, Satan. Oh, her husband. Like, in and out flashes, but not like the whole scene where you actually see the ritual part.
Or
Yeah,
not
I-
have her realize, oh, this is real, Make it
Yeah.
like play it off like a dream.
Admittedly, maybe that's what Polanski was going for. Maybe it was supposed to feel like, oh, is that real? Like, did we just see Weird Claw dude? On it? Again, I'm saying I know it's Satan, but like at the time, you don't know it's Satan. You think it's just some
Yeah.
dude that needs to go get his nails done.
Yeah.
But like, and it's like when you see this, it's like, man, if we had, and I'm gonna say those Michael Bay quick cuts that didn't exist yet, but like, just invent a whole film technique here, Polanski, for this movie. But I mean. And that's what I'm saying. If you take the scene and you move it, like the revelation, like instead you replace it with a different scene, like of just the husband, like you kind of said, Jerry, like if you just replace it entirely and then show that scene again with her realization of like, oh,
It's the devil.
yeah. And that brings me to my second negative thing about this movie. But this is not really about the movie. This is about all stories like this. I realize I just peace sign in my bed. Here's the thing. I never understand movies like this. At the end of the movie, they go, "Hail Satan," and he's screaming. And they have literal proof that Satan exists. And then you're over here like, and you choose Satan. Like you just got the proof in this dynamic of God and Satan that like they both exist. So you know that okay, you got the upside down cross over the cradle. So like you're buying into everything here, and you get the proof that Satan exists, and your whole thing is like, yeah, I'm gonna go with Satan. Like that's just weird to me. Like you get something that everyone's searching for. They want proof of God. You just got proof of God by like the negative there, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go with the horned dude with the whole lavy skin and.
I'm going to take your little point there, though, because this is a cult, and one of the worst feelings for people is the feeling of no longer in the community and everything. Who else does she have to go back to and everything? That's how people get into cults and how things like that. So that's why that didn't bother me. Oh, who?
No,
Not her.
Not her.
Just the people.
She's one. At least I can forgive her because it's her baby. Like I'm like, okay. I mean, yeah, it's a little freaking weird, but
He's
like
just saying like
I can go with.
Yeah, the idea that like, okay, if Satan is real, that means the existence of God is real, and like bad versus good or evil versus whatever, like you still choose evil. It's like, but if you know he's real, then why would you still? It's like that's
but
people, like, what the hell?
But people make up in their heads that they aren't evil and everything.
But,
so that's
and
my thing.
Also, they're not the ones that are. Yeah. They're. I agree with you. Not evil in their own mind, and plus with the
they get everything they want.
Yeah, with the other side of things, it comes with the promise of like, carnal power, and that's
but in like this life, they trade their soul for it. It's like if you know you're
never gonna
on
understand
the table. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't. That's the one problem I have with all the stories. I just.
Okay.
It makes complete sense.
Yeah, they're like, hey, look, we're right here. We're with the we're with the big king here now, basically.
Yeah, I get it if you don't know. Like if you're buying into this and like you don't have definitive proof and you get some reward and you think, oh hey, this might be connected to this. Think Ready or Not, that movie, right? I think they did this really well. Where they have the whole thing and then you finally get the confirmation at the end kind of deal, right? When they weren't able to do it.
Here's
That
the
makes
thing.
sense to me.
The reason
Erica.
that it's easier to go evil. And you know, at first I was kind of like, yeah, I can see your point because it is like, oh, if you know that this exists, but giving in to temptation is a lot easier than not, right? So that's why. So they know that both exist, but going the satanic route or like that route is easier for them. It doesn't make it right. And you don't understand that because that's not the decision that you would make. But you know.
Well, yeah, no, I get that. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to say, like, if you know for a fact you're damning your eternal soul, there's absolutely no,
They don't feel that
nothing.
way.
They're not damning their internal soul because they have like flesh on earth in Satan. That is their reality. That is their world. That is there.
It's weird.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. It's just one of those things. If you know in your afterlife you're going to hell, that's a weird take. That's
Satan
a
is
weird
the king
belief.
of lies. So he's
There-
probably telling him that
there's
them
no-
that this is not what hell is. Yeah.
There is no afterlife. That is just internal life now.
Yeah. It's fine. Come on, philosophy. No.
Jeez, Erica,
I'm just saying, that's all I have
negative.
no problem I have with this.
Let me chat. Okay. So I agree with Seth. I think moving that scene would have been really impactful because the biggest problem that I have is the lack of ambiguity with the story. It's like we all know that, you know, Rosemary's being abused and gaslit and things like that. And they started so well with it, the kind of like teetering, like uncomfortability with the death of her neighbor, right? And like you kind of think, oh, Minnie cares about this girl that they had in her home, you know, but then it's like kind of weird. It starts to get weird, but then it's like all that mystery like jumps out the window. And then to layer on that, Rosemary's husband, Guy, is the most unlikable man ever. Like, there's not an ounce of me that was like rooting for him to do well in his audition. I'm like, fuck your audition. Not an ounce of me was like felt any way for him. I'm like, once he was like, yeah, I had sex with you while you were sleeping. I'm like, ew.
Already trimmed the nails. Don't worry.
And it's like that just made me so pissed off. And it kind of took me out, even though like I know technically he didn't. He still put his wife in that situation, which I know is part of the horror, right? But I think having that revelation at the end would have been a little more impactful because you could have towed that line a little bit differently. So those are like my two big things, which I think align with what Seth is saying. Because I like at the end that you never see the child, right? So like you're left to wonder, what the hell does that thing look like? You know what I mean? How far does a mother's love really go? And so I like that part because I'm like, ooh, I get to imagine this. You know, they'd mention like, oh, the hands are and the feet are just like this dad, but still. So those are my thoughts.
Can we just acknowledge that her husband is awful though? Because that man didn't rape her, but then took credit for raping her anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like,
so I said he did a good job acting because
super
he was,
calmly was like, yeah, no, it was me.
trim the nails. Jordan,
Yeah.
what are your negatives?
It was me.
My negative. So it's going to be a little bit ironic because I said the tone was pretty good, but at the same time, the movie the whole time is always hinting at this sense of uneasy and offness, and like it sort of beats you down, and I sort of lose interest in the movie because of it. And that's probably the biggest negative is the fact that it doesn't give you any like breath or anything. Like she has a horrible life pretty much the whole time through. Like she does, and I felt like if you added a little bit of like ups and downs and where she'd feel better and like, oh, this, you know what, I actually have a good life here, might have made the end better and why she would stick with everyone. So
Jordan, they're worshiping Satan. They're only downs.
She could have got a better hairdresser. Her hairdresser didn't worship
She's
Satan.
like, it's Vidal Sassoon. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Good
I
God,
was like,
girl.
hey, nah.
Okay, so that brings me to another point really quickly. They infantilized her so much. So she started like a young adult, maybe like early to mid 20s, right? But then the haircut made her look like a baby, the outfit choices. It was really weird. And I think maybe that's the part of this, probably the weird culty vibe of it too. But I was just like, ew.
I think
And probably,
everyone with age, and I thought more like boyish for some reason with my view of
mm,
her when she went with became a bit skinnier and the short hair and everything. So I think that's interesting. My take was different, and I didn't think about it being younger. I just thought like they took away her
mm,
feminine. I can't say the word feminism.
fem
Yeah,
You're doing
femininity.
great,
yeah.
though. You're doing
There we
great,
go.
though.
That word. Anyways, that was my take. So I thought it was interesting. Everyone else thought it was age.
All right, now hop into categories. So we have best scene, first one up. I think I really like the ending scene when she just like walks in that room and they're all like sitting around, and then she goes up to that is your son, that is your child, isn't it? And she walks up and she sees the child, starts rocking the cradle. That and there's some other ones, but I think I'm just going to end up settling with that one. I do really like the first time that I went to Roman and Minnie's apartment to have dinner. So when we're first introduced to them, um, before Guy went completely crazy. I do like that because it kind of like sets the stage for everything, and there are so many like little clues hidden within the dialogue of that scene, and I pick them up every rewatch, and I loved like the first half of this movie leaves like a lot of good breadcrumbs before the reveal starts happening at that
Mhm.
at the sex scene. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the ending. That's my pick. Jordan, best scene.
I'm going to probably go with the ending too because that was the one where like everything sort of comes together and why, like I said, it's like okay, this is why everyone's so weird and everything, and it sort of ties around with the issues I had with the acting, to where it's like oh okay, they actually did a good job with it. The other scene I might go with is the scene where when she talking about changing doctors because I think that's very vital where she does not have any control over her life. Then that's when it's like, oh boy, that is when it's like this is completely messed up situation for me.
Yeah.
And so that we, yeah. Anyways, that's my pick.
Okay, Erica.
I really liked when she started to come out of it because there was a lot of terror in those scenes as well, where she's like, "I'm fighting for what is she, Andy or Jenny, right?" Like she's like,
Yeah.
"I'm fighting for them, like I'm gonna do this," and you find like she finally thinks that she's safe, and fuck Dr. Hart too because he
Hell.
betrayed her. Hill, yeah, fuck that guy.
Wait, time out, time out.
Um,
Hold on. In defense of Hill, that lady
no,
just showed up at his house or like office at 8 o'clock and is like, witches, witches, they're all witches. They're
No, because
after
the first
me.
thing he did was call her
Witches.
husband.
yeah,
No,
Guys, hold on, time out. Hold on.
no,
No.
because if you
Hill gets
get into an
defended here.
office and
no.
someone is like, my husband did this to me, you don't go to the husband.
No,
You find other resources.
that's
Send a
not what
police
she
or something.
said. That's not what she said. What she said was, it wasn't, hey, my husband raped me. Yeah, absolutely, you don't go to the husband. What she said was, hey, look at this book of occult stuff that I found in a used bookstore. And look, Mercado. And then look at
Yeah.
the anagram. She sounded like a crazy person. And
But
Hill's
she said her
response,
husband was complicit in doing some
Yeah.
of the stuff.
yes,
You don't
but
like
he
in
called her his doctor.
1960. No. You don't call the husband. Period. In 1968, when women were property of men, at that point, yeah. But No.
I'm saying the guy's concerned for her mental
Yeah.
well-being. He's not taking what she's saying
You
seriously. So
call
he
the
didn't just call her husband.
you call a mental health therapist.
Well, okay. First of all,
Yeah, they would have
1968.
delivered
We're
that
gonna
baby and been
Cleveland.
So
shocked.
that's what I'm
Hey,
saying. Your argument only applies to
no,
1968.
no,
It does not
no, no.
apply to
What
2025.
I'm saying is when you look at Doctor, of course it doesn't apply to 2025. It takes place 1968. But even regarding that one, but Dr. Hill gets a bit of a pass here because this lady came in and was spouting what would be considered nonsense in even 2025. And yes, you would call a mental health facility, but he did
Pause.
call her.
Okay.
But hold on. But he called her doctor. It wasn't like he just called this person. He's like, hey,
So
dude, what's going on?
I'm gonna piss you off. So does Guy get a pass because technically marital rape was not against the law until 1993?
No, you're conflating two things here. Let me explain. Let me explain. You're conflating two things here. My point is, if you put yourself in Dr. Hill's shoes, what do you do if someone comes to you spouting what is considered complete nonsense? You're going to call today, you're going to call the mental health people, right? He did nothing wrong. Dr. Hill didn't do anything wrong. There wasn't a mental health person to call. Instead, he calls her doctor and her husband saying like, "Hey," and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, she's just going through." The doctor who's respected, it's established respected, says, "Hey, this is all this is," and everything else. I'm not saying that's not. It's two very different things. One is an immoral act. The other one is the procedure of the times. So Dr. Hill gets a pass because Dr. Hill didn't do anything wrong. Dr. Hill did. This woman came in and
Not
was
for
like,
me.
"Witches, witches." Guys, if someone walked across from you with dead set stuff and was like, I have been victimized by a cult of witches.
And guess
You
what?
are going to
She was
call a mental health
right.
person. No, she was, but you're not going to believe her. You're going to believe her in 2025. You're going to call a mental health person. Like, you're going to call the cops. Like, hey, what's going on? Come get this lady. All right. That's all Dr. Hill did.
Not
Dr. Hill
getting a
did
pass.
exactly what you're going to do.
Not getting
It's
a
fine.
pass.
It's
Nothing
fine.
Pick
wrong.
your best scene.
I'm gonna go with the ending scene because I did technically pick one because we got in that can of worms. But I do think the ending scene is interesting because it flips the perspective where I think Rosemary is kind of taking back some sort of control, but also is she being manipulated by the power of maternal instinct at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or is she drawn by the blood of Satan, which is literally the child? Who knows?
I guess
I
for
like the
me,
ambiguity of that.
I'm going to go off of yours a little bit there because I took it as that kid is all she had left and what she was going for and everything and what her whole purpose was. And so it's like, if I don't have the kid here, I got nothing now. And so like that's how I took it. Anyways,
I love it. Anyway,
Best scene, Seth.
I don't really have one. That sounds bad. It's not that the movie's
he's like
awful.
the scene where the doctor calls the
No.
husband.
No, it's not even that. I did think about saying that to troll you a bit. No, it's not that. No, here's the thing. I don't really have a best scene, so I'll go with whatever y'all want to do. And the reason why I didn't have a best scene is like when I think of best scene in a movie, I'm like, oh man, this is the scene that sticks out to me. This is the scene, man, it landed for me. And the problem I had with this movie goes back to my negative, is that I didn't really have a moment that stuck out to me as like, oh, that landed. All I could think of is like, if she had stabbed Roman in the throat the moment he said "Hail Satan" with the knife, I probably would be like best scene. Like this woman just gone through all this, for lack of a better term here, went through hell, and she screamed, dropped the knife, and then rocked the baby. And like I get it, I get why she went to the baby. I get why. I'm not knocking her for that. Jordan makes a great point about this. I get it, but like I understand a lot of people love this movie. This movie was a total miss for me, almost from the jump. I literally don't have a best scene. Mia Farrow did great throughout the movie, but there wasn't like one scene that she did better than the other. She was good from beginning to end. So I'm good with y'all's final thing. That works for me. I know.
Okay. Erica, when this is finished, please put Seth in the dryer because he's a complete wet sock.
I know. I'm sorry.
So no. You can not like the movie, but to say nothing stood out, but the entire 2 hours was built up to Rosemary approaching that damn
Well,
cradle.
to be fair, he didn't like how it ended, so that could be why he wouldn't want to put that in the best
Yeah,
scene.
because
he didn't
of
like.
course. Why would you want to damn your internal soul? No,
That's all fair.
whatever.
You get
Okay.
one thing every
MVP of the movie. MVP of the movie.
Mia Farrow.
I'm going with Mia Farrow. Mia Farrow,
Oh,
Seth?
Yeah, Mia Farrow.
Jordan?
Right?
Yeah, I think that everything revolves around her. It's clearly, and she did a good job. I really don't have that many complaints about her or anything like that. So yeah, I'll go with Mia.
All right, shout out. So, six man. I'm gonna go with Minnie, Ruth Gordon. Even the tandem. I mean, the tandem with Minnie and Roman together. But yeah, Minnie is my six man.
Dr. Hill. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. It's not Dr. Hill. My sixth man in this is Satan.
I hate you.
The movie couldn't happen without him. I'm just saying. Nothing could have happened without him. I'm just saying.
Erica, six man.
It's not my pick, I promise.
Seth is banned from the next episode. Erica, six man.
I do think that I don't remember his name, but the other doctor, the bad doctor, I think he did a really great job, like kind
Dr.
of like
Saperstein.
yeah, Saperstein. I think he did great, but I feel like Minnie really drove it. She was like a driving force and like, no, come back. You have to drink your thing. Okay, wait, but it's 11 a.m. Like she was very like she was making the thing happen.
He wanted that baby.
Yeah. I'm like, what did she get in return?
Right?
Your
Jordan.
makeup? I mean, come on.
Jordan, six man.
I am going to go with the Doctor Saperstein.
Saperstein.
Yeah, however you say that, because I really felt like he was like for not having as one of the main characters, he really drove the movie, and so that's why I want to put him as the sixth man.
Seth, I'll give you
My
a
actual
second
choice. My actual choice is the husband, and I'm gonna tell you why. I hate the husband. I hate the husband with a passion of 1,000 suns. He might be one of my most hated character husbands in all of movies. He's up there. He did a great job of being pathetic.
He did a great job of me hating him.
I told you he was a good actor in this movie. Yeah, no, he really was.
He did a good job. He did a good job of doing that pathetic guy where he's like, you know, hey, yeah, no, but like think of all the things we're gonna get out of this now, and like, you know, but like oh, I care, I love, I'm concerning, but like it's not. Like he did a good job of pretending to be concerned enough to the point where you're like, yeah, he probably is slightly concerned with her, but on the list of priorities that he has, she's way down here, and these other priorities definitely take precedence. Like there's a long list before it gets to her, and he did a good job of conveying that she's on the list. She's just really far down the list of his priorities and concerns. So he's actually my real vote for six man.
I want to say this so much. He had the ultimate cuck chair.
He did. He literally did.
All right, chalk that up for the first time those words have been uttered on the podcast, and we've been doing this for a while.
I had to say it though. I'm sorry, man.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Y'all were so scared to say what's her name's name last week, but you just led with cuck chair.
Cool.
We'll edit post. It'll be all right. Y'all are so bold today. I can't believe y'all would cuss.
I know. I said the F word a few times, but it was justified.
I'm just getting close to it earlier.
Okay. So next we have the Rotten Tomatoes game. The who won last week? I didn't have because I didn't have my spreadsheet ready last week. Who won?
Not you and not me. I was going to be offended if you won before me.
I think I won again. I think I'm on a streak.
Yeah, because I hosted, so it wasn't me. Yeah.
I ain't won yet this year.
I'm on
a losing streak.
Yeah.
Okay. So Rosemary's Baby. Seth, start us off. What does he get on Rotten Tomatoes?
Well, I would normally go high with this one because I know it's well beloved and I know it won some Oscars and stuff. And I think if Rick Dalton had been in the place of the husband in this movie as an actor, I feel like it probably would get a 92. But I'm gonna go a little bit lower and say a 90. And I'm proud of myself for waiting until this moment to make a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood joke.
Okay. Seth, you picked the 90. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Jordan, what did this get on Rotten Tomatoes and why?
I'm going to go with an 82, where I feel like when it was originally done and everything, and everyone got the awards and everything, I feel like this is a movie as time goes by, people aren't as excited about. That's just my feeling with the movie, so that would reflect in the Rotten Tomatoes scores. So I am going to go 82.
Okay. Erica, you on a 2-game win streak?
I know. Let's see. I feel like knowing how influential this movie has been, but also remembering that it's a horror movie, I'm probably going to lean towards 86 because I feel like horror movies always get like dogged, but I don't know. Maybe less now, but they historically have been. So
This is a film bro movie, though.
Audience score for this movie is an 87.
Too high.
Dang.
Too high.
But
I'm cooked though, for the record.
Erica, you've been dethroned.
Congrats, Jordan.
Congrats, Seth.
No, I didn't. That's so
This movie got a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes. What are you guys thinking? The critics who reviewed this movie, remember, they loved the shit out of Roman Polanski back then.
Yeah.
They loved Mia Farrow back then.
Yeah, back then, but I was thinking modern.
It's still an audience score of an 87. You're still far too low with an 82. What?
Garrett is offended. Damn it.
I really am. I'm actually most
you know what? I'm
fine
fine with being the minority of opinion about this movie. Okay.
If you know people love Roman Polanski back in the 60s and 70s.
No, I don't know this.
I said Seth.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, Rick Dalton was a big fan. I mean,
okay.
Anyway, no, I'm just saying it's a film bro movie, so I went 90, but I'm disappointed that I won.
I know.
Use my history.
I'm disappointed you went that low because you know it was. It's a film bro movie. You know it's like a 95.
It's a film bro movie, but it's a horror movie, film bro movie, and Roman Polanski. So that means high and negative. And so, you know, I went with the 90, and I still feel like it's way too high for a 97. That's what I thought out there.
Disappointed in Seth because you should have went higher.
I'm disappointed
because it checks all the boxes. I'm disappointed in Erica. She had little faith.
I'm disappointed in her that said high.
I'm with Jordan. Just for the record, I want to be.
No, you're not, because you knew it was going to be high. You're not disappointed.
It doesn't change the fact that he's probably still disappointed, though.
Do you know how bad it is that next to my one win this year so far, it's gonna be Rosemary's fucking Baby. Sorry, I had to quote Rick Dalton. But like it's gonna be Rosemary's Baby. What the heck? That's my win.
This is a good ass movie.
Anyways.
Silence.
Let's get to the recommendation. Let's see who recommends it.
Me, because that's what's next. Do you recommend this movie to a friend? I recommend it to anybody who enjoys horror, so seen it, or just any kind of like horror literature or anything. Because as Seth said, this is a pivotal foundation for a lot of different horror properties. And like I said, when I really love Annabelle for a lot of what it pulls from this movie. So whether again, if you like horror film, say you should probably watch one of the founding movies in that genre for this tiny apartment style. So yeah, I do recommend it to all my horror heads.
Horror heads?
Seth.
Is that really what their horror movie fans called themselves?
After everything he said, that's what Jordan picked up on.
You know what? Jordan's banned from the next episode too. Good thing Ray's coming back.
Good luck recording recording then.
Actually, no. You wouldn't. Just turn your camera and mic off.
Anyways.
Kidding. Erica.
Eric,
Okay.
okay, Eric is recommending art.
So, yes, I would, because like I do think that if you're going to be a horror fan, like these are things that like you have to watch to understand the influence that it has. Just like, you have to watch Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, like Psycho. You have to watch all of these things to really understand what the media you're consuming is today. After sitting on it for a few days, I think I am going to rewatch it and recommend it again to myself, just so I can pick up on things. I don't know. That's where I'm at.
That's you watching at home alone.
Oh yeah,
I'm in the other room.
the movie American Psycho. I can't ever decide if I like the movie or I don't, but I have seen it more than many other movies that I've seen, because I can't stop rewatching it because I'm trying to like gain new perspective each time, and I think that's kind of cool how that movie does that. And so I wonder if Rosemary's Baby will now be the same for me, where I keep rewatching to try to understand different parts of it and maybe get the ambiguity. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think.
Yep.
I don't know.
Seth, do you recommend this movie?
I gotta be honest with you. I probably won't recommend this movie, and if I ever do, it'll be only to like the historian aspect of it that y'all hit on. And if I actually tell them about it, it would be like this. Yeah, it's a movie you can watch and it will help you to understand where a lot of influence comes from. But honestly, you'd probably be better off skipping it. But that was how my recommendation would go. So no, overall, the answer is no. I'd recommend the opposite, actually. It's a very uncomfortable movie. Which I guess if you like uncomfortable movies like Jared, that does explain a lot. So much.
Jordan.
No, because this is one of those movies. I'm like, I can't see myself saying, yes, this is a good movie. I'm going to recommend it to someone, and someone watches it, and they're going to be like, really? You enjoy this movie? Because I feel like this is a movie that it's not really to enjoy. And so that's why I can't recommend this movie.
Not too much. Listen, do you feel that way about all horror movies out of curiosity?
No, because there's horror movies that
I
liked and thought was interesting and I'll recommend. But this movie in particular, because of the subject matters and the deeper ones I was talking about, this is a movie I feel like I'm not meant to enjoy at the same time.
It comes with a disclaimer for sure.
So I can't ever be like, hey, yeah, go see this movie. It's a good movie. I'm like, I feel like this put people in bad moods, and it's like, no, don't.
It did put me in one.
Yeah.
It did. Can't confirm. Here's the thing. Jordan is discussing Dr. Hill's standpoint right now. If he tells people to go watch this movie, they're going to be like, are you well? And they're going to call someone on Jordan to do a wellness check. Because if you go to someone and say, hey, this movie's so good. This is a comfort movie. You're going to love it. It's going to be nice and awesome. You're just, oh my God, you won't be able to stop talking about it. He's going to get a phone call.
It's a comfort movie.
Probably.
Jared, in about 10 minutes, you're going to get a knock on your door.
Jared, what is one of your comfort movies, by the way?
One that was influenced by Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
Hereditary. It's on the list.
Yep.
Come on. Of course. That's number one on the comfort movie.
Yeah.
And you know what number 6 is? Rosemary's Baby.
I said that's no, it's honorable mention on the horror movie list. Blockbuster Hall of Fame, the name of the podcast. Is this a movie you're gonna rent at Blockbuster? Yes. I'm renting this movie and I am watching it and I am enjoying it because I like cinema. And this movie is cinema.
I just feel like it's a weird movie to say that I enjoy. I guess is my thing. Like,
I'm sorry. Sorry. I apologize for laughing. It was the way you said. All I could picture is Scorsese's meme. Like that's all I could picture when you said that. I'm bad for laughing.
Seth. Blockbuster Hall of Fame. Yeah, I already know your answer. Your answer is yes. Let's go. We already got 2 votes.
No, if I ever have to, Erica's over here like, I'm gonna rewatch this. You go watch that by yourself in the other room. Like I'm not gonna be present for
Oh
this.
gosh.
I do that a
I,
lot.
yeah, I'm never gonna watch this movie again. That is a hard no.
Erica, Blockbuster Hall of Fame.
This is tricky. Because like I said with American Psycho, while I've seen it many times and it is rewatchable, I would not put that in a Blockbuster. Well, actually, hold on, that I might change my if we ever do that. But while I am going to rewatch this movie, I don't know that I can confidently say it's in the Hall of Fame for me.
Okay.
It's hard. It's hard.
That's fair. That's fair. Jordan,
No.
go ahead and let me down.
No. I do not want to rewatch this movie. So this is definitely not going to my Hall of Fame.
Cool.
I would have
So,
fallen out of my chair if Jordan had said yes. I was wanting you to know that if Jordan had said yes, I would have literally fallen out of my chair.
this movie is not going in the Blockbuster Hall of Fame, but it's okay. Not everyone's movie can, but it's all right. I will keep watching it. I will keep enjoying it. So thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. Now that we're on YouTube, I got to get a better camera because I watched the episode last time and my camera sucks. But we're gonna work on that. And like I said, the summer is rolling around. We got a couple thoughts and ideas to have some more stuff coming down the pipeline. Just putting out more content. Whether you watch or listen, we appreciate everything. Even if it's just one view count and it's me watching it over again, I will like it as well.
Wait, did you just thank yourself?
Yeah, I did. So when I watch this tomorrow, or when I watch this next week, I'm on vacation next week. I'm like, did you? Wait, you thanked the one person who watched it? That's me. I thanked myself. Yeah.
Way to go.
Shout out to you. Shout out
Let's
to you.
go, Jared. But
We
yeah,
have 4 subscribers. It's us.
you gotta start somewhere.
The heck, Ray's not subscribed? What the crap, dude?
Hey, we have 31 views on last
31?
episode.
Oh,
so-
okay, it's gone up since I last.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to refresh my page a couple times. My bad.
Pat myself on the back again for this next episode. Let's go. Cool. So we actually, Ray is supposed to join us for an episode. We're not sure if it's the next episode or not. So we're kind of waiting to see what we're going to watch next. But we will be back pretty soon. And like I said, over the summer, we're going to try and do something a little different. We can put out more content because I know Seth will be available most of the summer and I will be too. So, yeah, hope to see y'all and talk about other things other than movies. But for the next movie, not sure yet. You'll see it when you see it. But thank y'all for listening and watching. See ya.
Bye.